Welcome back for my team selection video for Gameweek 3 of Fantasy EFL. We'll take a look back at how Gameweek 2 went and then go in depth into the reasoning behind my choices for Gameweek 3. If you are enjoying all the Fantasy EFL content, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Okay, so first off we'll do a review of my Gameweek 2 team, which I wasn't very happy with, to be honest. It was similar to Gameweek 1 where it wasn't good but it also wasn't bad, so overall I ended with 53 points to take me to a total of 112, which leaves me on a rank of 13,214, so I'm not very happy with that. I need to improve that this week. I had Max O'Leary in net, who played in the game of the weekend in Game Week 2. Unfortunately for me, that meant a lot of goals and a 4-3 win for Bristol City. So we only ended up with 1 appearance point after conceding 3 goals. In defence, and my captain for the week was Vitinho. And we spoke about why he was so good last week, but as a defender basically playing as an attacker, he's a no-brainer. Burnley won the game 5-0, so obviously kept the clean sheet, and Vitinho also picked up an assist, so ended on 10 points. Annoyingly, it could have been more. In a 5-0 win, I did expect him to get even more than just 1 return. But 10 points is still really good, and because I had him captained, he got 20 points for me actually, so he kind of saved my game week. I also had Hellick, who was very unlucky not to come away with more points. I think he nearly had 8, but ended with just 2 because Huddersfield conceded a 95th minute penalty against Stevenage. And the penalty was debatable too, so it's a bit annoying, that one. Although, I'm still happy with the pick, as Huddersfield looked very strong, and Hellick's got decent attacking chances too, so into midfield I had Jack Nolan playing against Morecambe, and I did expect Gillingham to score more goals in that game, but I guess that's the risk with going for a player with an away fixture. He came away with just 4 points, with the 2 appearance points and 2 for interceptions. Then we move on to Keeler Dunn of Mansfield in a 3-3 draw with Burton. He got an assist, a key pass point and a shot on target point, so ended on 7 points. But trust me when I say he could have had way more points. Mansfield looked so attacking and created 3.26 expected goals, with 18 shots and 7 on target. Maybe they're a team to target for what we describe as like an easier fixture. I'm specifically looking at their fixture at home to Cambridge in Game Week 6, I think it is. In my Game Week 2 attack then, and this is what really let me down, what's annoying is I nearly left Alfie May in my team, which would have completely changed my game week. But I didn't. I put in Lati Lath against Derby, who blanked and got 2 points. Middlesbrough created an XG of 1.55, and Lath had an XG of 0.88, so again, I feel quite unlucky to come away with nothing from him. My final player was Andy Cook, who did nothing all game and picked up a yellow card. So he ended up on 1 point as well. So extremely disappointed, as he's the one who I would have swapped with Alfie May, but it's all hindsight in the end, isn't it? So it is what it is, and let's move on to the fixtures. So these actually went very well for me. I had Burnley and Huddersfield. Both teams won, both scored 2+ goals, and Burnley also kept the clean sheet. Like I said with Hellick too, Huddersfield were minutes away from a clean sheet as well. Not only did I miss out on the 2 extra points overall there, I obviously missed out on, I think, 8 points if you combine the points lost from Hellick and from the team. So yeah, I feel quite unlucky with that one. Let's move on anyway and have a look at my Game Week 3 team selection. In goal, I've gone for Huddersfield's Lee Nichols. He has a save percentage of 80% and has prevented 0.75 goals over the 1.75 XG he's faced. Obviously that 1 goal was the one that was conceded from the penalty, so he looks very strong. Huddersfield have a clean sheet percentage of 45.5% and play at home to Shrewsbury in Game Week 3, who have had a bad start to the season and got battered 4-1 by Peterborough last weekend. Huddersfield being at home too should make them even stronger. Into defence, and I'll just get this one out of the way first, as one, we've just talked about Huddersfield anyway, and I did actually pick him last week, so I've gone for Hellick again. Yeah, I know, I'm doubling up on the Huddersfield defence. It's a very risky strategy, and I may regret it next week, but I've got to take a few risks at points to gain some rank. May as well double up on a team that's like the second highest chance of a clean sheet all week. If I combine that clean sheet potential with the attacking threat of Hellick, and I did speak about this last week, but last season he was Huddersfield's top scorer with 9 goals. Huddersfield's crossing has been a lot better this season with Mikael Miller and Lassie Sorensen coming in, and now they even sometimes play for those set pieces. So in a game against Shrewsbury, I expect them to be able to overpower them from set pieces, giving Hellick more of a chance to get on the score sheet too. So yeah, risky pick with those two, but I think it's worth it. And next to them, I've got Bradford's Brad Halliday. So, a very West Yorkshire defence here. They play against Bromley and have a clean sheet percentage of 41.7. So, I think at home, Bradford have got a very good chance of a clean sheet. And Halliday plays as a right wing back, so he also has opportunities to go forward and maybe more of an assist threat rather than a goal threat, but looking like a good pick for Game Week 3. Into midfield, I've got Alfie Doherty of Luton. Now, I'll speak a bit about this after I've finished the whole team, but I think there's so many attacking options this week. But the reason I've decided to go for Doherty is because they play against Preston, who are clearly struggling and have just appointed Heckingbottom as their third manager of the season. Now, I do think Heckingbottom is a good manager, and I expect Preston to be a better side under him, but I'm banking on the fact that it might not click straight away, so Luton might go to Preston and take advantage of that. I've picked Doherty as he's one of Luton's best players. He was one of their standout performers in the Premier League last season. He's creating an expected assist of 0.32 per 90, and already picked up an assist against Burnley as well. He's also making 2.5 interceptions per 90, and has made 4 key passes too, so hopefully that pick works out for me. I've then gone back to a player that I had in Game Week 1, in Doncaster's Luke Molineux. He got 19 points for me in Game Week 1 with 2 goals and an assist. And even though Doncaster lost 3-1 in Game Week 2, he still picked up 6 points. With Doncaster back at home against a Morecambe side that have had a very bad start to the season, they haven't even scored a goal. I expect Doncaster to score plenty of goals. They have a projected goals of 1.7 and a win percentage of 66.7. So Molineux should be involved. He also takes set pieces too, so I've decided to captain him this week, as I think he's got the best chance at scoring big. Into attack then, I've decided to go for Will Grigg of Chesterfield at home to Salford. Chesterfield beat Crewe 5-0 last weekend and looked very strong. Grigg puts up an XG of 0.34 per 90, with 2.38 shots on target per 90. And so far this season he's got 1 goal and 1 assist. Salford haven't scored a goal yet this season, with Chesterfield having a projected goals of 1.5 and a win percentage of 57.1. I expect Grigg to get a lot of good chances and expect him to be on the score sheet by the end of the game. And then my next attacker is Alfie May, who needs no introduction really. He scored a goal in both games so far, and I think Birmingham are starting to grow better as a team, and they'll continue to do that through the season. They play Leyton Orient away, who have been okay so far this season, to be fair, and the fact it's an away game would be the only reason I'd take him out before the start of the game week. Leyton Orient have lost to Bolton 2-1 and Charlton 1-0, so they haven't necessarily let in a lot of goals, but I think Birmingham will be too strong for them. Birmingham have a projected goals of 1.39 and a win percentage of 48.8. There were honestly so many attackers I was interested in this week, so I'll just go through some of them now so you can't have a go at me if I do change them before the deadline. In midfield, I did like the look of Lassie Sorensen, the wing-back from Huddersfield, but obviously I've already got the Huddersfield double up in defence, so that made that decision a little bit easier. He picked up 2 assists in Game Week 2, and honestly from watching the games, he looks like a fantastic player. Another is Latte Lath of Middlesbrough, and honestly he's probably the closest player to coming into my team this week. I know I had him last week and he blanked, but his data is so good, and he plays at home against Portsmouth, so there's potential that he'd probably be changed for May, obviously, as Birmingham play away. But that's probably the highest potential change before the weekend. Other options were Louis Barry of Stockport, who have obviously started the season incredibly well, and this week they play against Bristol Rovers in an early kick-off on Saturday. The only thing that's stopping me making that move is that Bristol Rovers' defence has actually been quite good so far. But Stockport are at home, so I'm just hoping that Barry doesn't punish me this week. I also like Alassane Jatta of Notts County, but they play on Thursday night against Grimsby, which by the time this is uploaded might actually be tonight. So I would have to make that decision quite quickly. And honestly, I think anything could happen in this fixture. Last season, this game between these two ended 3-2 and 5-5, so plenty of goals. Jatta's putting up an XG of 1.05 per 90, with 1.56 shots on target. And honestly, speaking about this now is making me want to put him in my team again. But, I don't know, there's just so many attackers this week. And then finally, I also like Sam Cosgrove of Barnsley, as they play Northampton. With Barnsley being at home, I expect them to be far too strong for them. And for that reason alone, I'm quite worried that I don't have any Barnsley coverage. They have a projected goals of 1.54 and a win percentage of 60%. Okay, finally, just before I end the video, I'll just talk about my 2 team selections for Game Week 3. Someone did mention in a previous video about the extra 2 points you can get for an away win, but I went through the pain of that in Game Week 1. I think for now, with how unpredictable these leagues are, until we've got more information and data, I'm going to stick with home fixtures primarily for now, especially seeing as though at the minute I've got 2 actual players with away fixtures in my team too. So the teams I've picked are Doncaster and Huddersfield. So yes, that means I've actually tripled up on Huddersfield, which is a scary thought, but please God, I hope it works out for me. Obviously at home to Shrewsbury, so looking like a strong selection with 1.62 projected goals, a clean sheet percentage of 45.5 and a win percentage of 63.6. And then Doncaster at home to Morecambe, like we've already spoken about. Doncaster with a projected goals of 1.7, a clean sheet percentage of 44.4 and a win percentage of 66.7. This also looks like a very strong selection, with Morecambe not even scoring a single goal yet this season. So there we are, that's my whole team selection for Game Week 3 of Fantasy EFL. Like I said, the only change I might make is in the attack, to potentially bring in Latilath or Jata, but we'll see. Let me know what you think, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I'll answer them all. What's your team looking like for Game Week 3? Do you have any of the same players I do? If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.